All right, so here we have it. We've got Splyce, we've got Complexity. Again, it is getting late, so please bear with us, guys. We're going to give it our all here, but it is the knife round of the third map. We saw Splyce have a very convincing first half on that second map of Inferno, just to be reset nearly by Complexity, who almost walked away with that 2-0 win. The train map that started off this series a while ago was just so one-sided, it was barely even fair. And now we have coL, which I kind of put up in the air. I personally just have more experience having watched Splyce play on this map. I know that it is one of the maps that took off Pain Gaming at the MDL LAN finals, and I have not seen Complexity in general since the ECS relegation games, where they lost this map, I think, in double overtime versus B's Money Crew at the time. That outcome forced them out of the league. So that was the last time I watched them play it. It's been a long time since then, and it is about to be the last map of the series. Seaside, take us away.
All right, guys, thanks for tuning. Oh, not like... Yeah, my bad. I was about to say goodbye. Sorry. Oh, Splyce, no utility, Glock. Semphis accidentally had his on burst. This will do a little bit of damage towards Squeaky. As Semphis is going to hunt him down. Burst comes back on, and it is just a slaughter. As Splyce are going to now try to push in towards B, while Rix will hold the flank. What has this round turned into? It is just all over the place. As Desi's alone in a 1v3. Somehow, some way, my X-ray's off. Things are going crazy. I don't know what's happening, Scrawny.
Your X-ray is being cameraman controlled, and later has it off right now, so the stream doesn't see it either. He'll realize.
This is why he's not working tomorrow.
But it is Desi 1v2. Now, right now, we've got the player on the bomb site. The second man's over towards the plat. Actually, both terrorists now in this direction. Desi's trying to single in on them, but they have yet to give him any kind of information. So he doesn't know if they're still towards Coop. He doesn't know if they're to the back of site. He has to be extra cautious clearing the corners. Now, you can't see it, but there's a man crouched behind those boxes. Now you can. He's incredibly lit. Arya gets tagged down to 14 health. Desi's going to have to pick up the pace here. Needs both frags, and he needs them now. Arya tagged even further, but he is still standing. Desi wants to take them both, and he'll find them. But there is just no time left for the defuse. That is Splyce with the pistol.
As hectic as that was, Desi somehow managed to reel it back in and find the last three. So it is going to be still 1-0 for Splyce, though. They get the bomb planted, they get out of there, they evacuate. Well, they don't evacuate. Desi evacuates. They all lie there dying. But they will pick up an AK, some SMGs. Ari, I imagine, will go for an SMG as well. Unless he wants to go with the AK route and drop it over. Yeah, he'll go for a MAC-10. So triple MAC-10, 1 UMP. I feel like MAC-10 is becoming more popular due to the nerf on the UMP long range. As Complexity go into the double scout with upgraded pistols. So really anything's possible just due to the weakness of the MAC-10s at range. We could really see these scouts doing some damage tag-wise, and the pistols cleaning them up.
Then again, Scout's pistols is a difficult sell on Cobblestone. Less long avenues. Of course, currently with Complexity having plat control, that's going to be one of the places they can exploit that, and then Def just has to sit to the far back side of A. But if Splyce prioritize drop down and come out of the short side to B, then suddenly that scout gets in question. Luckily, because of the armored pistols, they can try to hold drop instead, but it is Splyce now disengaging from that part of the map and heading straight to the A site. That's currently where Def holds alone with his scout, so as long as Splyce can smoke off connector, they should take the site with ease.
Roka cleans up Desi, gonna continue the push in towards the site. No one really left here for Complexity. I'd like to see the players with armor tuck tail and run. You're not going to get a buy next round. Why really feed the machine that is the MAC-10s? You're just going to give a lot of cash up, and I think Surreal and Slummy are kind of realizing this now. Maybe we should peace out. Maybe we should try to not feed more cash into these players' hands than we really ought to be. As Complexity just going to place some exit. Splyce will be up to number 2, and they'll have cash behind them. Roka's actually living on 1 HP, so he needs to start hightailing it out of here. It's through the door. Slummy spots a little bit of a drone, and we'll say, nah. Azok's going to get a second. Roka tries to jump it on 1 HP. Interesting decision. As it looks like Splyce are the ones just throwing away their SMGs, which they have to rebuy, because next round's another round where you can farm up. So, interesting decisions. And Arya's going to die. Everyone wants to go to bed.
Death and decay all across the bomb site there for Splyce. Their exits, not that great. Does cost them. Of course, we will find Rick's just reinvesting into the utility. And then the same for Semphis. He actually buys his Mac 10. So it's going to be a big investment for Splyce. Could have been a little less costly had they kept themselves alive, but that's not what happened. Complexity actually make quite a decent round of that, curbing the economy of the offense. But in this one, Complexity do just have that Scout and UMP. Sure enough, they've got the one smoke for Surreal and a couple upgraded pistols, but this should be a freebie in the bag. The counter boost gets spotted, and 2 targets soften thanks to the frag grenade itself. Meanwhile, Splyce still stays standing on 5.
So it's interesting from Splyce to go immediately into 4 AKs. So they're not going to be going for the heavy bank build like some teams will do. Because if you can find a lot of frags to your Mac 10 and UMP, well then that's just pure profit after you pay off the UMP and then you're all good. But instead, they go into the AKs. You're going to see Def get spotted towards window, down to 52 on his UMP. And he is going to allow them to get out window, and he's going to be the man to challenge. He's playing around Pillar as Semphis gets gushed down to 19. Will repeat and find Android. And the rest should be pretty cut simple. Very cookie cutter here from Splyce. As they try to run in towards B. Rex just wants to take a duel with Slemmy, and he will cleanly take his head off. So 3-0 is going to be the start here. We'll have to see Semphis upgrade perhaps, or he'll be the man to get sent down drop. Yeah, so the man with most money will be able to throw him over. Maybe he's calling for an op, actually, perhaps. Who knows what he may be asking for here. Arya may be the one to get it. So there you go. Arya tosses over his AK. Nothing wasted. Gets up, dropped an op. Well, Complexity will have a mag. 3 M4s and an op of their own out on Surreal. Now, Def. Why is Def holding on to the M4 with no armor? Can you riddle me this one, Scrawny? Def has no armor, yet lets Android take the mag 7 with armor.
I don't ask questions past 1 a.m. Anything flies today. Splyce, they've got themselves the opportunity to clear out the economy of Complexity. The first gun round has arrived. And immediately you can see how the just tempo of the round has slowed down. Sure enough, Splyce are going for this early drop presence as they did in the last. Again, trying to frag grenade any players who would be close. But Complexity aren't opting to go for a boost, instead just playing more passive. Molotovs come in. That's going to ensure 0 presence, but Complexity still playing from the windowsill. Desi spotted as Semphis preemptively peeks. Smoke grenade to follow suit. Nice bit of utility to force them down, but can Android use the shotgun to his avail? First shot goes astray, and we still find a 5v5 with 45 seconds left.
I'm still triggered by Def holding on to this M4, not gonna lie. Android needs to be like, bro, listen, trade me here. Trade me up and we'll be okay. And Splyce are going to start to work towards the A site. Now, there are 2 players here for Complexity. Slemmy's playing close, and Def, the no armor M4, as I close my eyes while I say that because I don't want to believe it's real, is going to be playing towards Stables. And Slemmy's going to peek. Def goes down before firing a shot, and that's pretty much a clean entry, unless Desi have a hell of a round here, as he will just get shut down from Roka. So that is going to be a clean round from Splyce. 10 seconds, bomb goes down. Surreal's being hunted from Rix and Semphis. He's like the dinosaur from Lost getting hunted, as that is going to be 4-0. Actually, I never watched Lost, but I know there is some kind of creature that... Does he end up... Have you ever watched Lost? Does he get hunted? Can you spoil it?
Wasn't my reference. Don't pull me into this.
Okay. Well, I hope I'm right.
For your sake, I hope so too. Splyce to the 4-0 start thanks to the opening gun round. I mean, we just see them clean sweep the entirety of Complexity there. Not a single player standing at the end of it, and not a single player down for Splyce. We get ourselves a pause called, and it is early on, so you could justify it, of course. Gives Complexity ample opportunity to discuss not only this eco, but the full buy to follow suit. So, things are okay so far. It is very early on. Sure enough, Splyce get the pistol, they get the conversion, they get the first gun round, but we saw similar things happen on Inferno before they get turned back on their head. We cannot get ahead of ourselves, and Complexity realize this. This is a very good call to take the break early on and just upset the momentum that Splyce have gained in the opening 4 rounds of this half.
Yeah, it's definitely a good time to take the pause. You can say, all right, what are we doing with our upgraded pistols? Take 5 seconds towards that. And be like, all right, next buy. When we get the ops, we get the op back out. We can get the rifles. What are we doing? What's the game plan? We will have max loss if we lose this. What's the plan? Where are we going? What are we doing? And, you know, maybe some aggression is the answer here. Maybe a long A push. Maybe peeking towards mid with the op. Maybe smoking deep plat right off the get-go like you can in CT spawn. And then pushing down towards plat and getting in towards B apps. There's a lot of options for complexity. I feel like aggression may be an answer to this. But hey. I ain't no expert. Or am I? I don't know. You said no questions, so you can't answer that.
I left you hanging. Desi's going to rotate off of platform. He tries to spot the smoke first and foremost, but that's all it is. Just a smoke from Splyce. They do not go running through it. Last time they used this Molotov play towards drop down, Splyce actually re-engaged entirely from A site. So at this point, they are now conditioning the defense not to read into these nades. It is just the anti-eco, so maybe complexity won't read much at all. They're certainly not going to get anything done until Android and Slemmy find those two frags. Pinching into the drop down, grabbing one gun, and trying to chuck it over, but Android loses his life as Arya comes swinging wide thanks to the op shot connected. Bomb not yet crossed to the site as Slemmy has the AK, and he has the Kevlar as well to mitigate the AM punch. Smoke grenade goes wide. That's going to allow for him to exit, but he gets caught on his attempt to cross. Surreal, all that remains, and he's found himself one. That's Arya done, but can he get the next two? No. Drone finds the headshot, Splyce find 5, and that's a decent eco round from complexity, taking 3 lives with them.
Not too shabby. Not too shabby at all. And here's the buy for complexity. The op comes out, thrown over to Android, thrown back to Surreal. So I don't know why, but for some reason, based on Inferno, I like the op on Def. The way this team jives to me, the way it was working on Train, Surreal's just been a little quiet for me. I feel like Def has been having good rifle rounds. His op's been, you know, on point. But maybe Cobblestone's a map where Surreal's going to turn up. Now, he does have an army of 4 players walking towards him, and he's playing a one-and-done angle, and he gets caught with a molly out. Summarizes his BO3 so far as Slemmy tries to find a refrag, and that is just Roka clickety-clacking some heads as Rix is going to play on the side of the smoke. He'll lurk out. Arya finds another entry, and this round is what you can call a slaughter.
Yep, another very convincing gun round. I mean, we saw the exact same thing happen as Splyce barreled towards the A site in the last one, and, well, history repeats itself. It happens yet again. Def executes Semphis with a shot between the eyes. That's something to play off of, but still 3 players stand for Splyce and only 1 on complexity. Def will certainly save this gun unless Arya comes wrapping full circle. However, at this point, 1 gun, not going to be much moving forward. You look at the economy for Splyce, it's already quite healthy. Roka on 10,000 prior to them getting the bonus of this win. So Splyce off to a fantastic start here on the T side of Cobble. We are 6 rounds deep, all of which going to Splyce. The pause has been called by complexity. They do not have any more breaks. And they do not have any more money to go for a full buy on this one. So it should just be a little half buy wrapping around the Catalyst AK of Death. Can they get something done? Maybe if they close the distance and get into the faces of Splyce, but currently Splyce are having themselves a fantastic T-side, and they have yet to make mistakes that show me what complexity can do themselves.
So I'm having one of these late-night thoughts that's not related to CSGO at all, and I'm wondering if you want a life tip. It's kind of a life tip for everyone listening. Are you interested?
I don't think I can stop you, so go right ahead.
All right, don't slide into a girl's DM with a picture of Floppy. I thought it would work. I thought maybe if she's a fan of CSGO, she'd know who that is, and maybe be into it, and maybe message me, be like, hey, are you Floppy? And I'd be like, yes. Didn't work. So life tip, don't DM pictures with Floppy's face, because it actually doesn't work.
You want a life tip, Seaside?
Hit me with one.
Don't bring up DMs while casting.
What's wrong with DMs?
They're irrelevant.
That's I warned you.
They have they get a kill. Desi falls back. He burns alive, sure to 7 health, but it's at least something. Look at this. Forward aggression on the A site from complexity. That's something new to talk about, Seaside. We haven't seen that. Not in gun rounds nor pistols.
That's true.
Surreal's over towards the platform. We've seen that from complexity, but he also falls back quite safely. Slemmy dies. And that's not a good look for them, as now the T side have gun advantage, numbers advantage, and presence towards the site. But Desi with the Deagles trying to find one, and he will. That's Roka out. The bomb planted as Surreal rounds the side of the pillar. He too toppled, and Android's next in line. 7-0. And they just keep going. They just keep going, Seaside.
They don't stop. 7-0. Complexity, I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Damn. Rough. Do you hear this noise? I'm hearing noise in my ears. You don't hear the noise. I heard the noise. I clicked on a link, and all I heard was nothing whispering in my ear. He was whispering sweet nothings. So it is 7-0. Double up now from Complexity. Maybe this is the answer. Maybe this is the way it works out. But they have just one kit, a couple smokes. It's a lot. I mean, Complexity kind of need the opening pick. It's been a lot for Splyce. Just very overwhelming when it comes to pressure.
Roka's got a small gap to try and exploit towards Def. He also spots Desi, so he knows they're both there, but Def gets the best of him, and Complexity get the opener. Lemmy has a softened Semphis, and he takes himself another frag. So here's Splyce actually hitting a brick wall. They try to entry into the A site like they have so many times before, but this time it costs them, at least in the opening bout. Rix is able to grab a single headshot, and Slemmy's flashed, but Slemmy's finding frags nonetheless, as Arya drops as well. There we have it, Complexity on the board, a strong A site hold with 4 players moving forward, 3 of which on ops.
Well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So what's one more op in this situation? A triple op, kits are out, utilities out. They only lose 1 member, so money isn't that big of a deal. I mean, yeah, they'll have barely anything out on Desi due to the utility rebuys. Slemmy, or Surreal, excuse me, is a little poor. But you know what? All in all, not a bad round to pick up. Not too expensive. They go for the triple op. Might as well run with it. As Splyce are looking to hold for any kind of counter boost. Rix is going to continue to hold the smoke as Semphis pushes up. And Splyce are just working a default. They have Arya holding towards long A, a player holding mid. And Def's going to get boosted here. He has to be careful because there's a smoke that allows him not to really... It doesn't really net him much, this boost. He's waiting for the smoke to dissipate, and maybe someone from Splyce will take the peak dry.
We saw the attempted counter boost during eco rounds, never with an off. And it's a counter boost from Rix on the other side that pops the dome of death. Great heads-up play from Splyce. They triple molly into the drop down, trying to find the bottom of the totem pole, but that man has retreated. Android over towards the rock. Splyce starting to get aggressive towards the platform as they have the 5v3. Android rotating towards the site, attempts to take an angle, but he loses his head in the process. Drone finding 2. The headhunter has only Slemmy left to find. As he swaps back to the op, he will retreat, very similarly to what we saw on Inferno. Slemmy being that hard last rotate, just deciding to keep the gun moving forward. This is Complexity, sure, with 1 round, but also getting reset.
Well, the triple ops didn't work out, so now they're kind of floating around with just 1. Slemmy will have some money if he stays alive with the op. He'll be able to drop a teammate if they really want to. I mean, you're going to be down 8-1. You're reset going into round number 10 of the first half. Your CT side hasn't really net you anything. And there's not even a guaranteed Slemmy stays alive here. As you can see, there is Rix hunting, but I doubt he gets to Rapunzel in time. I think Slemmy's safe tucked away in this corner. So yeah, he will be able to live. Rix is just going to be a little bit of a distraction towards outside of it. But that is going to be 8-1. You'll see Slemmy maybe drop a rifle if they want to buy here. Maybe throw the op over to Surreal. Yeah, so he will throw the op over. They'll buy upgraded pistols. So Slemmy will stay on his P250. Doesn't have to really invest much. No, he's going all in. They're going all in. So they elude it for a moment, and then we'll go all in.
Going to be a hard sell. But we shall see. Splyce changing things up. Now, we have seen constant museum presence over towards the B site. And instead, well, not executing directly into A, they actually push 5 of their players towards lower A instead. Maybe trying to read into, say, a counter fast flank or something along those lines. I think the one thing you can do with pistols as a CT when you're on these kinds of quasi-buys is to try and push out lower, maybe catch an Opper or a Rifler towards rocks. So it's cool to see Splyce read into the situation. They do something new when it's a round that has yet to be explored. Complexity, just facing a hard reset, are obviously going to come into this with something new, or at least they would have, and Splyce try to do the same. Regardless, it ends up with the exact same thing. Splyce set up 2 guys passively towards the A site. They put 3 over towards the drop down to try and pry for information. And this will be an eventual A site split. But Complexity have players towards lower A, and they've also dropped the bomb. Crucial frags from Android. This buy might work out, as it's a 5 versus 3, and Desi nipping at the heels of Rix knows exactly where he is. Takes the AK, but he's fully blind, and it still pans out. The bomb dropped yet once more. Def behind the final 2. This is a round for Complexity. They actually make it work.
Jeez. Def blind as well finds a second. So Complexity, you're right. They make it work. Keep 5 members alive. They pick up a couple AKs. They pick up a second op. Thankfully, it's not the third. We saw how that plays out. So at least 2 ops. Def and Surreal, the Brits, will be going to town with those. Going against the Americans. That's a lot of history there. As the rifles will come out for Complexity. Splyce will get a final good rifle buy here. Now, if they lose this round, they may have to take a little bit of a half buy / save. So this is kind of the chance for Complexity to turn it around. Now, if it doesn't happen here, and they just go back down to 1,400 here, they will buy. I imagine it's going to be a half buy again. But it's at the point where Complexity need to start stringing some rounds together. They need to start getting something on the CT side.
I mean, arguably, it's not too late. There was a time with Cobblestone where there were so many T-sided halves that you know, you could make the argument Cobble was T-sided. I think that was prior to the addition of the staircase over towards platform and prior to CT teams really understanding the importance of drop down. But again, it was there once upon a time, and some people still advocate for that argument, but I'd say it's much more 50-50. Either way, Splyce are still just in the realm of an 8-7 half. If Complexity can turn it on its head right here, right now, if they can pump the brakes and put a full stop to the offense, then there's nothing holding them back from at least a few more rounds. Something to keep themselves together into the second. We saw them bounce back nearly on Inferno. Why not here on Cobble?
Again, Rix is doing a nice job of keeping pressure here towards drop room. He's going to continue to hold for any kind of plat pressure. Complexity do have numbers here towards A, though. Def starts it off well. Slemmy still playing close, and that's 2 for Def. Just finding skulls from APC as Desi's going to peek within the back of a flash. Desi sprays down, trying to find a second, but Drone needs some help. Still, as Def posted on his position, he is going to go for a little bit of a peek here, a good nade in, as Drone's going to pick up the bomb, and he's electing to continue this push. He knows he has at least 1 player isolated to site, but look at Rix. He's opening up space towards B. I think he even just silent dropped out a window, as he is going to find Surreal, but no time. That kind of becomes the main issue, right? Splyce taking their time, then they kind of brawl out towards A, but Complexity with the numbers. And more importantly, what Complexity do to make sure they have a third man there, they rotate one guy towards connector, is they have 1 player spotting drop and a player peeking plat, so they know there's no chance there's anyone coming towards B, because I'd have to have plat control by now based on the time on the clock.
All of a sudden, this incredibly convincing T-side from Splyce has been put into question. 3 of the last 4 go the way of Complexity. And so Splyce fall back to what had worked. Sheer B aggression, but Desi locks it down. 2 rapid headshots, and he's looking for more. He's gonna find Drone. That's a 3K for Desi. Near 4 until Arya finds 1 frag. But he is the last man standing on only a quarter health, able to flick for another. But can he do this? It would be an ace clutch to close it out.
And not today. Android's gonna put him down, so you're right. Complexity turned this around. And all of a sudden, 8-4. Splyce, well, they're the ones who have no money now. It's kind of flipped full circle. It's spun around, as it is going to be a tactical pause. Their last one. So they're taking a pause to talk things through. There are, interestingly enough, though, I think this pause is a little late. Now, I don't know. Granted, it is later in the half, so maybe there's not a lot to really go on here. Like, you have 2 rounds left to really get something going. So maybe it's a late pause in some people's eyes, but I think Splyce really want to get the last rifle round, try to get 9, maybe 10 on the board. So there's still room to grow.
I agree with this. If you can actually keep complexity, I mean, so there's 2 arguments to be made, right? Either you save that pause for the second half in case you need it later on and the game actually gets closer, or you take this opportunity to lock complexity out at only 4 rounds in the half and ensure that going into the next half you have a very real chance of just winning off of the pistol. You could argue either way, seeing as it is just Tech 9s and Kevlar into this with the double flashbang. It's going to be Splyce desperately parading into the B site. Over the wall they go. Drone already coming on in. Desi fully blind. Surreal as well, near caught out, but he's able to hit the shot. Surreal bailed out thanks to Def as Android finds another, and Android takes the last. Big rotation from Android off of drop down, finds the 3K versus the Eco, and that is complexity securing 5. Do they push the limit to 7 though? That will be the question. Splyce coming into this one with a full investment should hold them back, or at least make it hard. But these last 2 rounds are certainly in the air.
And you see what I mean by Def opping? I mean, a couple rounds ago we got 2 players towards long, and he's just putting up numbers again. I mean, I just love Def on the op. Surreal, you know, he hits shots once, you know, he does hit shots, but I feel like Def just puts himself in such advantageous positions to find frags, especially on Cobblestone right now. I can see the way he works around the map, and it's working out into his play style as he's about to peek mid, may find an opener for Complexity, which has kind of been the turnaround. Clean frags for Complexity, knowing when to peek opposite sides of the map for info, knowing when to flash peek, communications on point. As that molly actually spreads, then you can see how confused Roke is. He's like, how did I take a damage? And the molly kind of bled over the edge there. Look at all the drop down pressure here from Complexity this time around. There's 3 players in drop right now.
Yeah, they were.
Wait,
what?
Was there a molly still there?
It must have lingered.
Damn.
I mean, it still gets the job done.
Yeah.
Sure, it doesn't plume on the ground, but it obscures the vision of Semphis. Semphis himself is probably questioning that smoke, but either way, it's a response Molotov into the drop down, trying to burn those players out. That could actually help the B site defense as it blocks off the T side as well. You can see Android, who normally plays drop, committed towards plat instead. Surreal opping again, missing his first shot. Luckily, Android takes 2. Android still with bullets in the mag will find an assist and a frag. Rix responding with a kill of his own, but Def is all too strong, and Complexity continue to surmount this comeback. 6-8 the score.
Jeez. 6-8, it's starting to happen. Late half, pretty much almost around the half point of this half, it's starting to transition a little more to Complexity. Splyce will get a buy on round 15. It's AKs. Talk about pennies for utility. We're talking 1 smoke, 1 molly, 2 flashes, and a nade. They are running dry bones here. This is going to be an execution, and they're kind of hoping that it's not a free range for one of the oppers. They need to kind of isolate one of these players towards A, go on the back of it. Slemmy will spot it, drop a smoke, and fall off himself. And they can't really afford to wait behind it, but it looks like Splyce are going to. As look how eager Complexity are to rotate. They pulled 2 players. They pulled 1 player off drop and rotated another to windows. So they are very antsy on the rotations.
Def's going to miss the first shot, but he hits himself the second. That's Arya out. However, Semphis finding 1. Def will take 2 more. Big frags off the off from Def. He finds a 3K in the round, and Complexity managed to do it. 6 consecutive at the end of the half. 7 of the final 8. Talk about turning that on its head. Splyce left scratching theirs. I mean, my goodness, that comes out of nowhere. Complexity turning it up, not just on an individual basis, but the entirety of that team.
Man, that's insane to me. Again, it's Def, Desi, and I guess Android, right? The 3 core from Inferno transitions over here. They're playing well. Slemmy, they're all listening to Slemmy with his calls he's making, the plays they're working around the map. You can see how structured they are. But it's also Def putting himself in these positions where his op can just thrive, get multi-kill positions, playing APC nicely. But he also knows when to get aggressive with his op. He's done a nice job of floating around, giving aggression, but also playing passive when he needs to. All around a good CT half for Complexity. You're right, pretty much as 50-50 as we can get, mathematically speaking. We're there, 8-7. Now, this pistol, a little less weight behind it as we had on Inferno. A little less importance. Granted, it'd still be nice to get a nice 3-round start here, but that half was pretty much as split as we're going to get.
And to think the incredible start Splyce had. They must already be getting flashbacks to Inferno, where the entirety of the half went well. Not just the opening 7 rounds. However, it's them now on the defense. Complexity have put themselves in a prime spot to actually make the comeback. There's still new rounds to deal with, and Drone has had enough. He's finding 3 headshots on the pistol already. Surreal gets overwhelmed. Great play from Drone to just pop those skulls and give Splyce the start on the front foot.
Well, okay, they start off hot on the T side, and they want to get off to the same foot here on the CT side. They immediately buy up 2 FAMASs. And really thanks to Drone getting those 3K. The Scout even, interesting choice out from Arya. Get some utility behind it. So the triple FAMAS, I can't remember the last time I've seen more than 1 or 2 FAMASs bought up in a match. I don't know if that really has to do with the dumbing down of really the UMP, excuse me. I imagine it maybe has to play a little bit into that, but I don't know if you've seen this many FAMASs bought up at once, at least recently.
The FAMI have been quite prevalent, I would argue, in the Premier Division. I've seen more of a shift towards the FAMAS than UMP in the EU region as opposed to NA Premier. I feel like the UMP is still pretty bought up here, but the FAMAS is definitely being more present nowadays, just because of the range capability of it. Oh, that frag, though. The entirety of Complexity get damaged by that. Now they're all softened targets, easy for the pickings as they come still barreling into the B site. Drone finds another, but it is Desi with another trade back. So these Tech 9s, despite being tagged, are still dealing damage. Arya with the CZ is going to find one. Drone drops the bomb towards Coop, and now he can just sit on it like an egg. Surreal going to try to clear him out, and he will deal damage, but not enough. Drone locking down bomb sites time and time again. Slemmy sits on 7, and he's got 3 players to deal with.
Drone just did a little bit of a ring around the chicken coop. He gets caught reloading in the coop, and just does a full loop while someone's trying to chase him down. And he ends up finding that frag as a player finally peeks him. Bomb gets dropped. 10-7. Clean start from Splyce. They only lose 2 members. One of which being a FAMAS, so Roka won't mind getting dropped an M4 into his hands. Arya will keep with the Scout. As Complexity, it looks like they're not going to invest anything here. Not a single penny. Normally you see maybe 1 P250, maybe a flash. Just something to really, just give you something going for themselves, but it is just Glocks. Now, once in a blue moon, Glocks will pick up a round. Now, a bomb plant here would be exceptional for Complexity, and they're not stopping. This train has one destination, and it's the A site.
And that's where Arya holds. Now the rotation already being pushed over thanks to the call from Rix. Rix takes 2 as he flanks from behind. Finds himself the 3rd as well. It's only Android standing. But he's been dealt with. Splyce find 11, 7 still for Complexity. And that's the pistol and consequent conversions for Splyce. Now, can they continue with the success having Complexity on the rifles? That's going to be a big question. We've yet to see this happen. It's a 4-point lead for Splyce before things get started, but not too long ago, Seaside, I remember when they had a 7-point lead.
That's not that far ago either. This game's been kind of chunking by a little bit. Been going at a feverish pace. Arya's going for the mid pick with a Scout, electing not to upgrade. And if he can get a frag with it, I mean, more power to him. Some sprays coming through to cover his peeking. They won't think that someone's going to be peeking if they're spamming through the wall. As they get 4 AKs out, 1 UMP. And the T's do have a decent amount of utility, but so do Splyce. They have these mollies, they have the flashes. They pretty much have everything on their hips that they ultimately need to shut down any kind of aggression from Complexity, at least early on. And it comes down to how much time Complexity are willing to dwindle off the clock. As Arya's put in a rough spot with this CZ. I think they have a good idea that he's around here in danger. Slemmy's going to jump in and clear it, and yeah, just damage dealt from Arya. Not much you can do with a Scout and a CZ, although the CZ will fail him close range.
Start to the rifle round. Of course, it costs Slemmy his health bar. Utility as well. Deleted. 2 smokes and a flashbang left for Complexity. Semphis re-smokes plat, and he will stay aggressively pushed forward. I like this from Semphis. He has himself the ump. He's not going to play the typical back corner, but instead just wait on the other side of this, and he can hold this until it starts to fade. Even once he fades, if the flash comes in off of it, he might be able to get a kill. He actually catches Slemmy with 7 points of health. That's an easy freebie, but Roka falls thanks to Android clearing out the site. Man advantage still being held onto for Complexity, but they've yet to cross here. Splyce going to take this opportunity to boost the man up and around the offense. And meanwhile, Android boosts his teammate as well. So verticality in play from both sides of the spectrum. However, a gun duel towards long. Surreal spotted. Rix as well. Def will take a kill. And now they're just going to isolate the player from platform. Here's where the boost counters the offense of Splyce. Now that they know he's here, the entirety of the T side can just assume the drop down control. They can play from the opposite side of the bomb site, almost as if they were CTs to begin with. And this leaves Rix to save.
And save he will. I don't think Complexity are going to be trying to throw away these rifles anytime soon. Now, Splyce have built up a comfortable little Easter egg, aka a bank behind themselves, a piggy bank, if you will. They're going to be able to tap into that. They might have to break it with a hammer, but they will be able to get a buy-in. An op will come out. Rix can even drop the AK over to Semphis if he wants, or Semphis may get an op. It's really up to them how they want to play this. So Arya will continue on with the op. Semphis gets his own M4. Rix gets the AK after dropping a teammate, and Utility will come out in a decent amount. It's enough for Splyce to really make a comfortable buy here. And Complexity, interestingly enough, not leaning towards the op early on their T side. They're feeling confident in their rifles. They're going to try to find these engagements. And it really comes down to how much impact Arya can have. And that may lead to Complexity maybe eventually trying to get the op on their T side. But as of right now, they are op free.
And we saw 7 consecutive rounds from Splyce on their T side before it hit a halt. 1 round finally found for Complexity on their T side in the opening gun round. So either those pistols and conversions are going to be a grace for Splyce. And again, if you win the pistol and get 6 rounds because of it, it's really hard to throw a game. But it's doable. Especially if Complexity can turn this one around here and now. If they get reset, then Splyce are sitting fine and dandy. Complexity get an economic advantage. They can just start barreling into the B site using the aggression to assert themselves. Either way, a double flash towards plat leaves Roka half blind. And he spots no one as of yet. Still, a lot of presence here from Complexity. They're going to keep 2 players towards the A site, but the bomb is here at B, and flashbangs come raining up and over. Offense tries to retreat, though, and they're going to fake this back towards A.
It's Desi from Tree. Will spot him off. Def will find Rix, and the push is coming in now. It's a player. Stables is Arya. That's a Stables player, and he's got 1 looking for a second. He's got it, and he gets the quick shot on a Def, and he's looking for more. He can't find the 4th. Semphis will help him out, brings it to a 1v1, and Semphis can't close it. Surreal gets 2. Arya made that so doable for Splyce, but Surreal will hold on to your bridges, and will pull Complexity's shorts up and hang on to that round just by the skin of your teeth.
That's crucial. The hard reset there could have so strongly hindered Complexity moving forward, but they've gotten it done. Now, of course, we do still have the buy from the CT side deflated. It is just the pistol arrows here for the defense. Rix gets aggressive, and he tags Slemmy ever so slightly. Slemmy slimes away, back to the bottom side of A. Drone, meanwhile, gets boosted up into the counter boost. Desi clears it. Great up-close headshot to take the threat out of the corner and to keep barreling inwards. Arya going to get spotted as he tries to cower towards the rocks. It is, of course, Semphis and Roka still towards the site. Desi comes on inwards. He's going to find 1 frag as Semphis does the same. Def trades it back, and Roka, the insurance policy, could get snubbed out. Tries to gamble by looking into the corner. Def will find him for free. And essentially, Complexity do that with the round. Only losing 1 player is by far no real loss. It is just Rix on the flank. And at this point, Complexity take 10. So both teams on double digits. But this T side from Complexity looks dangerous.
It's starting to get that way. As soon as they get rifles in their hands, they're able to transition it. And more importantly, they keep 3 players alive, and now they're looking to keep 4 alive here. Yes, the round before they kept 1. It came down to a clutch. But at least they'll keep the op. Def does a little farming on that Mac 10. So this is all in all not a bad start for Complexity as they start to transition these rifle rounds. Rix will keep the armor. Will the bomb do a damage? Or, yeah, it will. I guess Rix's goal here is get a rifle. But now he can't get that $300 upgrade to head armor.
Man,
now,
we've seen that.
I don't think that's worth it. You know what I mean?
We've seen that actually thrown away like 4 times,
Yeah.
5 times throughout the entirety of the day. I mean, it's such a small little detail to get strung up on that it's really kind of not worth our breath. But it's just one of those small details. It's like players who buy head armor in overtime as CTs.
Yeah.
It's just one of those small little factors that you can so easily not think about. But at the same time, it has a very real impact on the game moving forward. I mean, each half is based on the 14 rounds before it.
Couldn't agree more. As Arya starts this one off well. Able to find Desi, so at least Splyce find an opening this time. Complexity will lose that presence towards outer yard. They still have Surreal over there with the op, and now Complexity going to rotate the bomb out. Def may get jumping mag 7 here. Strong possibility, as neither player has spotted each other. Drone is just playing this. That's such a safe jump spot.
Notice how he's jumping without making noise, though.
Yeah, the crouch jump.
Yep.
Love it. Underused, as Drone will make presence now. Def will face. That's a scary peek to take against a mag. I would never do that. That takes a lot of confidence in your Mac 10. As Def will clean it up though, and he's going to continue. It looks like he wants to continue some pressure towards B, but he realizes that the importance is towards drop.
Now Arya moves 1 player off thanks to his peek from APC. Rick still boosted on Humpty Dumpty, and Arya gets super aggressive. Exposes himself fully to the op of Surreal. Rix whips back round, finds the headshot. The bomb plant shines through, but Slemmy's now the last man standing at a 1v3. He's trying to section off long, but the threat is ever so close. Semphis towards his backside, Rix in front. And it's Rix who takes the kill. Semphis takes the defuse.
Oh boy, it's getting a little closer now. Complexity. It's the first round they'll lose once they get rifles out, and it wasn't too expensive for Splyce. I mean, they keep 3 alive. Bomb does go down for Complexity though, so that's money. They're gonna buy up, and the op comes out from Surreal. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Is this not the first time we've seen the op out for the T-side of Complexity? I believe it is, right?
You are correct.
So maybe this may catch Splyce off guard, who are going for the double ops themselves. So maybe a peak that they feel is normally comfortable due to Complexity not having that op presence will no longer be as safe. As Arya is going to be posted here, that flash will make him turn away. A player did cross already, but you can see how safe Arya wants to play this. He realizes that someone could have crossed and will just fall down in towards danger. He has help from mid, but he's very isolated here.
I have to praise the opping of Arya. It's actually been quite decent over these last 3 maps. But I can't help but wonder if it leaves Semphis at a disadvantage. He's kind of been the primary op for this team for a substantial amount of time, and this is the first time I've seen it not being used. And then even now with the double op setup, it's Roka. Maybe it's based on positioning, seeing as Roka's as B, but either way, it's Surreal who takes him down. So there's the opening frag for Complexity. Their op pays off. Semphis will retrieve it. What are you made of?
Complexity are grouping behind the smoke. They're letting up mollies, smokes, flashes of their own. They actually full blind themselves, as Drone is going to be sitting behind double stack here. Drone will get some bullets launched in here through the smoke, finds 1 frag. Brandor will immediately trade it out, and too many targets for Def to line up here. As through the smoke, Rix finds Desi, and that's huge. Gives room for Semphis to peek, who has 2 now, as Surreal's alone and shredded down from Rix. Rix and Semphis together will pick up 2 frags apiece, sending Splyce to 13, and sending Complexity to an economic rough spot where it's going to have to be pistols. You allow Splyce on 14. So we may see a half buy here from Complexity, maybe some utility. We haven't really seen a lot of quick drop plays from either team. So look for that maybe coming into fruition here into this round, as double ops get bought up again from Splyce.
Yeah, Splyce's T-side had that heavy utility on drop where they would just use the Molotovs to clear it. I feel like Tech-9 rushes don't work out as often anymore, but they're still going to try it, with Desi leading the charge and rapidly jumping through connectors, seeing Rix already. Rix able to grab one despite being caught off guard. Android's going to trade it back immediately, though, and Arya spots targets aplenty. Sempis on a rotate, able to grab two thanks to the 5-7, and that's Slemmy on the site now in a near 2v3, but Def now all that remains as Sempis finds another. Great sidearm play from him, but he is still dropped as Def with the op able to connect the shot. Molotov to burn off the hill. This forces it into the 1v1, and that's why Def peeks wide here. He's buying himself the opportunity to peek, but Roka all the wiser. He's not going to expose himself whatsoever. Def smoking himself off, reveals his position, but still able to cross into the crosshair of Drone, who takes the final kill and puts Splyce one short of overtime. The rapid drop-down play gets the map present Seaside, but it doesn't get them the site.
That was scary too, because no one from Splyce really heard them coming down drop. They ran, one player from Splyce who were in there, jumped in drop early, put the molly down, then just pieced out towards outside E-box and didn't hear them exactly all falling. Now, the one thing that saved Splyce were the quick rotations. As soon as Rick spotted them jumping out window, they were there to help out, but that got danger close. As Arya just misses Desi crossing, so 3 AKs, 2 UMPs is the buy in this round. No bomb plant. That would have helped this buy quite a bit. As you can see, they have one molly. There it goes towards stairs. I believe actually that's a second in the same spot. That's definitely a little bit of that nade. So they use utility early and don't really get much off of the back of it. As Arya has to contemplate falling back as he doesn't take the bait on the first player jumping, but a good flash. As Rix in the meantime locks down long from danger. As he gets 2 for his life and Arya a lovely peek. So that's what you like to see from Rix, getting 2 for the price of 1.
Drone mid-cross, able to grab another headshot. That one's on to Desi, and Def is just as dead. Splyce, find 15, secure OT, and it's going to need 5 consecutive rounds from Complexity if they want to make overtime happen, if they want to extend this series and extend their life in the CyberPower Extreme Series 2017. There's a lot in the line here, Seaside. A chance at their portion of $15,000 and bragging rights as well. It would have been an upset, arguably, from Complexity versus Splyce. They make that first map happen, but since then, the struggle shines through. And this is Splyce with a very real chance of closing things out.
Yeah, Roka's playing very close to this smoke. As time starts to dwindle down, and Arya's already got the opener, so this is perfect for Splyce. They don't even have to push for any kind of info. What a flick from Roka to take the head off of Def, as Surreal may have the same fate, and yes, he will to the hands of Roka. As Desi may get one and pick up the op. Try he will, try he might. But the numbers are just so promising for Splyce, especially with Android stuck now in drop room. Has to fight out with a tech. He may find one, but immediately traded from Semphis, as they know exactly where Desi is.
And there we have it. The 4th team moving into the semifinals of the tournament will be Splyce. They take one on the chin as they get dumpstered on train, but they